Welcome to the CU Flex. Yeah, sound good, don't it? I know. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka DukestheScoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DukestheScoop. Let's get right into it. Over the past week or two, I've been over the past week. Well, I say maybe a week and a half, maybe, right? Since I went out to Colorado. My face has been floating around Colorado YouTubes, but more recently, it wasn't for the work that I had done. It was about some stuff that went on with my former employer. All right, so look, I see, the headlines, dudes got fired, all of that type stuff. That really just wasn't true. Um, what I will say is this. So this is what happened. Might as well just go ahead and tell you. What happened was, I get a call from the CEO. Dukes, let's talk. Whoop, whoop, talking about contracts for next year. We're like, bro, we're not gonna renew you. We feel like we don't have the support for your talent that you need. All right. I told her we wrapped. I'm like, all right, cool. He was like, look, your contract is good. We gonna pay you out. You're a free agent. Everything good. You can start for next year. Start looking for whatever you're gonna do now. We still want to support you, whatever. Good. All right, man. We did an e-verbal shake, whatever. We go on. I ain't even trip. That's 11:20. At 11:30, I did a show with my man JD Piquel at the time. Didn't even trip. He had no idea. So I get off the phone. So I get off the show, and I call Coach Prime. I'm like, look, Coach, um, I'm I'm still coming to Colorado, but I wanted to know because we had already worked out for me to come to a practice, either next week or the week after, for me to see everything after my first look at Colorado. Now, come to a practice, all of that. I said, is it still gonna be cool if I put it on an independent platform and not on three? He said, yeah, that's fine, but what's going on? I said, well, they ain't renew me. He's like, well, all right, when do you start? I mean, or like, when does this take place? I said, immediately. And coach is like, he just felt the kind of way. But he told me, man, I got you. He said, listen, I'm gonna get you. I want you and Bucky to work together. He made the call right there and boom. And shout out to Deion Sanders Jr., Well Off Media, that boy Osakin. They thought I was tripping. You hear me? Yes, sir. So I'm talking through what I'm about to do next with a couple of my buddies. Actually, I'm talking to my man Scream from Big Facts. That's my son, Godfather, one of my best friends in the world. We talking through stuff. He was like, bro, look at your phone, dog. And my Twitter notifications are going crazy. Coach Prime on his own when it said, hey man, y'all go look at Dukes. He's a great guy. On three, basically saying on three, y'all tripping. Man, one thing I know about Colorado fans, they do not play the radio, Jack. And they just bombarded Twitter. I mean, retweet after retweet, and got me some looks, you know what I mean, as far as so um yeah, and that's how that situation went. No hard feelings. Um I'm fine, and sometimes doors have to close in order for new paths to show themselves and open. So yeah, I ain't tripping, man. Like I'm really a hustler, and on three under my contract. So I did want to make sure that was known. All right. But Coach Prime, man, this is what I'm gonna say about Coach, man. So Coach told me, he was like, dudes, it's time. He said, it's time for, he said, before you sign anything, before you do anything with anybody, I'm gonna get you ahead of the curve. Now, this has nothing to do with football. This has everything to do with brotherhood. Coach Prime said, because at first I'm worried. I'm like, dang, Coach, I don't know. I didn't know how the tweet was going to impact things. And he was like, bro, he said, you can't worry about stuff like that. Do what you're supposed to do. Go to work. He said, if you put the work in, you're going to be fine. He said, I have a responsibility as a big brother to take care of our own. This ain't got nothing to do with football. Zero to do with football. And I think, and I wanted to make it known outside because as I develop this platform, excuse me, my show. Now I got two or three shows that we got coming in the works. Got the CU Flex that I'll be doing here with Sanders Jr. And then I got I'm in talks right now with Ump. Uncle Neely. We got some really cool stuff coming out. So and I got some talks with some other outlets too, but I wanted to be sure that I came here first because that's who came for me first. All right. And if I learned anything in life, I'm big in the, I know I'm very heavily involved in the recruiting world and things of that nature. And I always tell kids that I mentor or from my neighborhood or anybody who just asks me for advice, go where you celebrate it and not where you tolerate it. Right now, and this ain't a shot at nobody. This is what I'm saying right now. There's a fan base in college football that literally just took me in immediately. So why wouldn't I come and develop something here with what's shown me to be a special fan base as I continue to build out what my next move looks like? So, man, just want to give a shout out to the Colorado faithful, man. They showed up on Twitter. They showed up on Instagram. They're showing up on other shows. They're showing up on YouTube. So, showing up on LinkedIn. But them folks on LinkedIn, huh? LinkedIn, man, I got messages on LinkedIn, bro. Hey, dudes, keep going. We got you. Like, boy, these folks are not playing in Colorado. But man, I did want to share that story about Coach Prime, man. 'Cause he said my big brother Gene got activated, Dukes. He said, yeah. He said, no. He said God got you, and he's been sending that message to me. But prior to, and I ain't gonna say everything, but he told me probably about 4 or 5 months ago. He said, dog, you better get ready. Because there's some things coming your way. That's all he said. He said, you better get ready. He said, for what you do, you better get ready. And I think that's so apropos for what the college football season has been for the Buffaloes. It was about preparation. They got ready. They saw what they had last year and they came back and they said, we need depth. We need to maneuver some things here. We need to add a couple of pieces here. And as the season went on, you started to see like the team come into shape or round itself into form. And you say, man, we didn't know this guy was going to be playing here. We didn't know this guy would be leading us in tackles or this guy would be leading us in rushing yards. Or we didn't know this guy was going to come in and get 2 or 3 interceptions. Like, there have been guys who have shown themselves differently as the season went on through preparation. One thing I heard from Coach Prime's press conference today, earlier, that I really liked was that he said practice was so good he had to stop practice. Coming off a bye week, you usually stop practice to tell everybody to get back right. He stopped practice because he was grateful of how those guys came out in practice and how they looked in practice. And we'll talk a little bit about Texas Tech because they ain't a pushover. They lead, I believe, they first or second in the Big 12 in scoring. Now they give up a lot of points as well, but I watched them. They're a really plucky group on defense. They harass you. You're not going to get the sack numbers that you would think that you would have for a team who's done as well as they have. But the way they attack the ball, the way they get after you, and they give up a lot of passing yards because they allow those guys to play. And so there's an opportunity. So if they're having a great game, if they're having a game where their secondary is on, Coach McGuire does a great job of getting them ready to play. So shout out to him and especially shout out to Coach Prime and Coach McGuire for their previous relationship and how they treat each other in the media. You can tell that's a real brotherhood there. But it's a game that you don't want to sleepwalk through. You want to get up for this game. You want to make sure that when you go to Texas Tech, you bring the same brand of football that you have started to build already. That's what has to happen. And if you do that, I've got the utmost confidence that Colorado will be successful. But that's and the practice habits, to my original point, the preparation, being prepared for what's coming. Coach Prime saw this season coming, and I'm telling you, he said it. He said, dog, you in for a ride. And he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about Colorado. Because there was a point where I just was like, bro, you got to at least keep some Colorado content in there. It started out with me just going to bat for Coach Prime because I saw folks hating on him for no reason, like because of what he wore, the chains, stuff in the past, people who the culture, how much culture that he was bringing into this arena. So I was like, man, I'm not finna just let people say anything. And then there were some conversations that I knew about that they were that about Coach Prime that just wasn't true. And it ain't true. I'm gonna say it. All right, I'm not gonna be a guy who has an opportunity, who has a voice to sit back and not use it, especially when I'm privy to the information. So yeah, I had, and there was a time where he identified me and said, "Hey, dog, you in for a ride." He said, "Hey, whatever you need in Colorado, you can get." So that's when I kind of knew. I said, "Nah, they believe a different way out here." And I never ever said everything that I knew or everything that I saw coming, or was I going to be a homer for Colorado. I just wasn't going to do it at that time because that's not where I was in my career. But right now, I can do what I want to do. Hey, man, go win, coach. hey, coach, go, man. I can do what I want to do. Yes, sir. Go Buffs. Hey, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DukestheScoop. That's episode 1 of the CU Flex. Hey, any graphic designers, you got some ideas for the logo, hit me up. We're going to do this once a week. Really excited about it. Shout out Deion Sanders Jr., my boy Osakin. Thank you, bro. Shout out Uncle Neely. See you soon. We'll be dropping this week. And just be ready for a lot of content coming from Dukes to Scoop. And yeah. I don't even know what else to say, dog.